so wide shot of the backyard, and then we have green stalk that's doing really well. That's strawberries and pine berries. There's a passion fruit vine. Also have some pine berries, and put some cilantro in, and this is growing much faster than I thought it would. So yeah, that might need a new home. And there's my coffee cup, etc. I just planted this up with cilantro. It's starting to come up. This Tradescantia, which somebody gave me a small plant, and it's propagated it. That was actually the original that I've taken about, I don't know, 10 cuttings now off of. And I've had the thing for like a year, so it's quite happy. So would recommend if you need a plant to propagate. And that was chocolate mint, and it's gotten very sad. And I don't know, it's from me overwatering it or being underwatered, where it is. So a little planter there. Have coleus that my kid gave me, and I don't know the name of it. I know I've got the ones that are in the back garden. One's called Flamethrower, and that's kind of similar to Flamethrower. So you got little bees visiting. Little agastache, little tiny guy. A pine berry. There's a yarrow over there. She's getting some height. Go this one. Alyssum. I got some Mexican gherkin or cucamelon. That has taken a long time to get going, so I don't know if we're going to get any of those. Might be kind of late in the season if she ever gets going. And that is, I believe, a paprika pepper. I had too many peppers. I gave away a lot, but I still had plenty. So the hyssop doing good. See my little Snoopy house that my family bought me that we put a busted wasp nest into. There's a dahlia that I left in the ground, so it overwintered just fine. Rose, and this is a dark red, and I can't remember the name at the moment. I want to say it's Arabian Nights, but that's my dahlias, the dark red. So let's head over here. The citrus trees are doing great. We've got limes happening. We have lemons happening. And here, this is an actual triumph. I believe this is a Meyer lemon, and this one's a Lisbon lemon. Although I've lost the tags, like years ago, I've probably had these for 10 years. I basically almost killed them, I don't know, at least 3 times within those last 10 years. And I think we finally figured each other out. Obviously me figuring them out more than anything. But the first time I killed the Meyer lemon down to the ground, I was about to throw it out, and then it started sprouting back. And most fruit trees grow from cuttings, so they're not necessarily true to type. So I don't know if it's the Meyer part that grew back or the rootstock. So I guess we'll find out whenever the fruit finishes up. Maybe, more or less. Bay Laurel has been super happy. It did get a little bit sad while it was inside over winter, but it's been pretty fine. This lemon was actually grown from seed, and I repotted it, but it's got some signs of stress. Like it definitely needs something fertilizing or something. Okay, and this, finally dumped out my potatoes, so I put in eggplant, which is in the same plant family, so you're technically not supposed to do that, but I feel like I change out the dirt in these enough. And refertilized. That's a pimento, an Ashe County pimento. So that's like a not quite locally developed pepper. Black pepper, black beauty pepper, gladiolus that was too late to put it in the ground, so I put them in pots, and they have grown lots of leaves but not bloomed, which is totally fine. Probably plant those in the fall somewhere. French lilac that I got from Master Gardener sale. I haven't divided it up yet. I've been trying to let it grow a little bit. This guy's sweet potato, and another pepper that I overwintered. And this is just, I don't know, garden variety red pepper, don't know the variety. Celery also overwintered in my greenhouse. And the greenhouse, a little bit of a mess, some more storage than greenhouse at the moment. Some columbines grown from seed. And then we have some penstemon that was divided up from a plant that I got at the nursery. And then more celery. And these are some seeds I started late. Oh, looks like I got some mushies in there. They're cucumbers and some squashes. So we'll probably get some cucumbers eventually. Probably too late for the winter squash type. But yeah, there's a lot of things I missed out on this year because of timing. So there's some cauliflowers that I just had too many plants, so I stuck some in here. And they've struggled a little bit all season. They're small, but they're getting there. The chamomile that's been huge finally went over, so I just kind of pushed it back so it could reseed itself in there for next year. All the asparagus that I planted in here seems very, very happy. So this is going to be my dedicated asparagus bed. I do have some pine berries in there as well. And they, like with all this rain, they put up new stalks. It's kind of wild, like this late in the season. And most of those are new plants, so I don't want to take stalks off of them. I'm just going to let them develop their roots and all. This area here, same thing, need to cut a bunch of this back. It's gotten wild. But mostly strawberries. We had a pretty decent crop off of them this year. And I had a little second flush. I get one here and there. Though I do believe the variety was supposed to be everbearing, so I don't know how true that is. My pawpaw tree that was doing really well, looks like it's not doing as well now. I did just cut back the top of it. It had a little bit of dieback, which I probably should have done to start with. Like I feel like I've read enough that when you plant a tree, that it's good to top it so it doesn't have as much to support with the transplant shock. But it didn't do that because it looked really good. And I mean, it was doing really good, and now it's looking real sad. Like I said, all that long dry spell, and then a lot of rain. You know, maybe that's just too much stress for it. I'm hoping it's not. It hasn't suffered too much. We'll stop there. I won't finish that sentence. Serviceberry also had some dieback, but she's doing mostly fine. Got a little sport at the bottom there. This dahlia, staked it up because it was all flopped over. It doesn't get enough shade back here, so it's not quite as bushy as it might want to be. But it looks like she's about to make flowers. So, sorry I can't share the flowers with you. I'm sure they'll be lovely. I don't remember what kind this was. I had things labeled, and then at some point over the winter they lost their labels. I don't know how. Blackberries. I need to get my labels for those as well. That guy. This one I believe was the Arapaho. Another thornless blackberry type, which was real happy. He's a black hollyhock. Echinacea. I do have a black jewel raspberry, and that's another one that I bought at the end of the season that was mostly dead, and I planted it and it did really well. Threw up multiple canes, and then had a little bit of dieback because of that long dry spell, but sent out 2 long canes. I ended up tying them up, and I guess there was a little dieback at the tip. They both like sprouted at the ends. I don't know if I should cut them back. I'm going to do a little bit of research on that at the end of the season. I don't know that it's going to make any fruit this year, but we'll see. Maybe I'll go ahead and do this little corner while I'm back here. Rhubarb, we got a little rhubarb alley going here. There's 3 rhubarbs in a row. That's the original one. When it looked so happy, I had 3 up front that have been struggling for like 3 years. And I had one that I planted back here and it did so well, so I went and got the other ones and moved them back here. And so there's 4 in this area, so I'm gonna let them grow on a little bit and get more established, and then next year maybe we'll have some rhubarb pie, rhubarb jelly. Oh, and the hardy kiwi is hanging out in there. It's actually growing really well. The one at the other end of the hill has had some struggles off and on. Grows really well, dies back, grows really well, dies back. I'm gonna say the weather has something to do with it too. Blueberry. Sage that I just moved from the other end. These are cauliflowers. And I put in some eggplants, and I probably should have just pulled the cauliflowers up since they hadn't finished. But this year's been so weird with weather. My bee balm that got huge and out of control. I think once it's done blooming and goes completely over, I'm probably gonna dig it up and take it up front. It's a mint relative, so it'll probably come back from the roots. But as wild as that is, I'm probably gonna, put it in the front so it can propagate itself in the wild patch. More cauliflower, purple kale, another eggplant that might never eggplant. This guy, another type of purple kale. I can't remember my varieties at the moment, but that's just how it is. That's a blue kale right there. Those are all happy, and I expected those to have gone over to seed by now, but they haven't, because right when they probably were going to, it started raining and cool off. Not complaining. Not complaining. Had greens a lot longer than we thought we would. It's a ground cherry. Those guys are starting to ripen up and produce. I only had 1 plant this year. There was 1 year I had like 14. We had so many ground cherries. It was ridiculous. I learned my lesson. I don't need that many ground cherries. More kale. We got some thyme and oregano. They're kind of taking over that space for me. More yarrow and his hyssop. Lots of little ladies on it. Nasturtium that has just all of a sudden exploded. That was another one that was kind of puny, and that's a volunteer. I love a volunteer. Zinnia also volunteered. I think I'm having a lot of red mustard volunteers as well. I'm gonna guess that I must have had a critter come in here that someone was digging. But yeah, we had a red mustard right there that I just cut down. Paprika. I've already gotten several off of this plant. This is one that was overwintered. So it must really like this spot. This must be the right kind of environment. I keep thinking that the plant looks sort of sad. But if it's making big fruit, I guess not. And lots of it for a relatively small plant. Okay, this side. That is another pepper that I overwintered. And that is, what are you? Okay, varieties are not happening this morning. Don't know what's up with that. Artichoke, that one's doing great. And then also died back to the ground with the heat. I guess and it was fine one day, and then like the next day dead. Which obviously I missed watering it a couple days, and it just succumbed quickly. These are Brussels sprouts that are looking a little worse for the wear right now. So I got a lot of borage volunteers coming up from the big borage plant I had earlier. Beans. So I had pretty much all of my things that I started at last frost. So beans, melons, squashes, anything that I would have wanted to grow in like a little peat pot like that and transplant out, pretty much all just died. I had an explosion of pill bugs that just ate everything, even if it had a little bit of size on it. So I guess they've been, you know, I starved them out for a while because I didn't put anything else too much in here. And the Brussels sprouts were too big for them to kill. So anyway, I did another round of beans, and I was like, well, even if it's late, beans don't take long. So the beans look like they're taking off. And the birds love to use my teepees. And so like this one, I've put like 2 extra, 3 extra stakes in the ground, and it keeps flopping over. But you know, I'm happy that they're here. Oh, let's look at that. Because that is a volunteer Queen Lime Zinnia from last year. And I guess it's a blush, Queen Lime blush, which is awesome. I wasn't sure how they would, if they would turn up true to type. And they did. But yeah, lots of beans. Oh, I do have some okra in here too. Let's see if I can get past my bean plant. But yeah, same thing. Like this should be further along than it is, but what are you gonna do? And the Brussels sprouts, like I was probably gonna cut them down this year. I was gonna be ruthless and do what I'm supposed to do because they didn't finish up. But I had a local tell me that no, she gets beautiful Brussels sprouts. I just got to be patient. And like they're forming, but goodness gracious, it's the end of July. They've been in the ground forever. Like it's supposed to take, they do take, 110 days, but man, they've been in the ground longer than that for sure. Anyways, okay. Another one, the purple Brussels sprouts didn't do as well this year. Don't know why. Red rhubarb. And I wish I could tell you all the beans. I had some rattlesnake, had some Blauhilde, had Chinese red noodle beans. There's little signs down there somewhere. I've just been bad with that this year. I'm remembering which ones are which, noting it. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll know once they start fruiting. But yeah, I love an okra plant. It's a really beautiful plant. See, the beans are trying to use my okra plant instead of the stake it's been given. Okay, come back to that. And we'll turn around. We probably should come the other way. We'll talk about this little bed, which has got a lot of volunteer borage and some carrots that have been holding on. I've been pulling them gradually, trying to pull my cabbages gradually because they're starting to get some sunburn, and some of them, I'm not sure what the signs are for sprouting on those guys. My peppers, and those are, I believe those are the Black Beauty peppers. This one is definitely a poblano, which turns into an enormous plant, and they're very prolific, and I love them. And then these guys here, shishito peppers, and they're also very prolific, and we're enjoying those. I had heard good things about this pepper, and so I'd never even tasted one, but when I saw the seeds, I was like, yeah, let me do that. Roots and Refuge, if anybody watches that channel, she's talked about shishito peppers a fair number of times. So, alright, and rosemary here, got a little parsley there, more borage that just volunteered itself. Borage really is, I did not plant any borage this year. Well, no, take it back. I think I planted like one, maybe 2 on the other side, but I didn't plant any here. So all that I have is volunteer. It's another poblano. Cabbage there. There's a pimento. Another pimento looks like struggling a little bit. And then somebody gave me banana pepper seeds, and I never grown banana peppers before. They're enormous. Look at that. Crazy. Purple cabbage. Everything's a little straggly over there. Oh, I didn't talk about my trees at all. Apple tree. Probably need to cut her back, because if you cut during the summer, that is supposed to limit growth. If you cut early in the spring, or when it's hibernating. It's the word dormant. That's the word I'm looking for. If you cut while they're dormant, that actually promotes growth. Summer pruning limits growth, and since I'm trying to keep this tree small, I need to cut her back a little bit. I'm a little bit hesitant too, because she looks real happy compared to my peach stump. Poor peach tree. I might try one more variety that was developed at NC State, I think. Alright, I put in these stakes, and I should have asked for 8-foot stakes, because these are 6-foot stakes and they're not nearly tall enough, but they're in the ground now, and I'll be darned if I'm going to be doing anything. So I knew it wasn't that even 8 foot wouldn't be tall enough, but so these guys are just rowdy, out of control. I was pruning everybody early on, and just like everything else, it does what it wants to now. That was supposed to be a green zebra tomato. I'm not entirely sure that it is. It did come out of a green zebra packet. My friend, I have lots of bird friends now. I am sure that this is a black cherry, which is also, I've got several of those. Those are very prolific. That's probably our favorite. It's another green zebra. And then on the end, let's see, is it that one? Also got black crimson here. We've already gotten a couple off. But I guess I don't have any close to being ready to go. And then the tomatoes, the determinate tomatoes have been very, very generous this year. I even grew less plants, but I feel like I've got as many tomatoes. Maybe it's just I've had even less time this year to deal with them. I thought I was getting a responsible amount that I could deal with and share, and I still have too much. So I don't know, like 2 plants. But also, I think raccoons have figured out that my garden is here, because I've never had any loss of tomatoes, and all of a sudden I have tomatoes like on the ground everywhere. And I'm sometimes half eaten, not always. But you know, I'll share with the little creatures. They've left me some, which is not always the case. Okay, and these are aromas and black plums. I don't think I said that. I think that's a black plum. It looks a little more orange than the aromas. Like it has a little bit of a brown sheen. It's aroma. Yeah, they don't get black. A lot of things say they're black, don't get black. For me, anyways. Never had that happen. But they do have, let's see, got some kind of blight happening. Got like rot on tomatoes that haven't even ripened yet, which is really weird. Yeah, so I guess we might be nearing the end of our tomato season for some of these. Lost my train of thought. Oh, a little bit of smoky flavor is what I was trying to say about the black plums. Hardy kiwi. This is the one that has been in the ground longest and flourishes and dies back and flourishes and dies back. So I imagine eventually we'll get a kiwi off of it. A fig tree. She's actually, looks like she might make some fruit this year, which is very exciting. This will be the 4th year in the ground and the 1st year of fruit, because it's also died back to the ground a couple times, and that is a Chicago Hardy? No, this is a Celeste fig. I do have a Chicago Hardy up front. Little tiny baby that I forgot to look at. Blackberries, thornless blackberries are done. I had some cuttings I stuck in the ground I didn't think they took, and then I have 2 little plants. I need to do something with those to tie them up. Pawpaw, super happy. This is like definitely the right place for it, so I'm glad we chose well there. I have a mushroom log that never mushroomed. You know, I did what I was supposed to with it, I thought. Aniseseep, I wasn't sure if this would grow in the shade, and it totally has. Amazing plant, can't recommend it enough. American elderberry, this is also probably its 4th year in the ground. Like, I was actually planning on putting trees in here when 2020 happened. Like, I'd already ordered some, so like, I'd already started my garden, but it kind of, you know, it filled out real fast, kind of like everybody. But yeah, my original orchard trees, I'd ordered, yeah, 2020. My raspberries, these are heritage raspberries, I believe. I had one plant I got 100 years ago, and it's turned into everything you see here, plus what's on the other side of the fence. Same thing with this blueberry. I have no idea the variety. I think I got it at Aldi's for like $4, you know, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And so I don't even know what it is. And this guy, that is a blue ray, I believe. I've got a volunteer apple tree. I have 2 pink lemonades. Those are all done. All my blueberries are done. I did have strawberries all as a ground cover. So there's a couple in there. And they all got killed back with the hard frost we had this year. They're starting to come back on their own. So yeah, these need probably a little more management than I give them, but yeah, just letting things be wild. Handling as much as they can on their own. Oh, and last up, I almost always forget the trees. Peach tree. This is a volunteer grown from seed that was in the beds. So I moved it outside of the bed. I did have 2 little fruits on it, so, and I don't see them at all, so I'm gonna guess my raccoon friends probably found them. I would have thought they were right, but maybe they were. I don't know. They were just very small. So we'll share with the raccoon friends. And then this is, oh goodness, we got some critter friends hanging out on our apple tree here. And this is a pink lady apple. Probably need to weight the branches down. I did give it a pretty severe haircut. It does have a little bit of apple rust. There's a cedar with rust behind, and so it's never going to be without. And that is a Honeycrisp. It's been in the ground 4 years now, so I'm hoping next year is going to be our magic year. Hopefully I don't have to wait to get to 7 years for fruit, but I have heard that depending on the rootstock, it can take up to 5 years for fruit trees to make fruit. And it's definitely taken its time getting comfortable. Alright, so that is the big overview.